Try to make up for them all, okay?
Yeah, that would be great. So thank you for being with us. You are also one of the strategic partners of the CPMR Intermediterranean Commission. Historically, we have always cooperated. For us, it's very important the dimension regional, local. So you bring this pillar into the Med Cooperation Alliance, and also you have a lot of members from the Southern Shore. So this is also very important, relevant for us. We have a couple of regions from the Southern Shore, but you have indeed a lot of members in your constituency from the Southern Mediterranean Shore, and you collaborate indeed on resilience and many other aspects linked to let's say environmental aspects also of the ocean and Mediterranean. So can you tell us about what is the key to deliver in that sense, and ask any question you would like to. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, dear panel. Hello to the Mediterranean friends out there and all the excellencies and esteemed guests who are present. I'm delighted to be with you here today to present MedCities. Now, MedCities is, we like to describe it as a family, as a Mediterranean family, including today 87 cities from, as you were saying, around the Mediterranean, with a lot on the southern side of the Mediterranean. And our goal is to work together, to build together, to create a more resilient, more sustainable Mediterranean basin for all of us to live in. It's been said already by all of you, all of the members of the panel up to now have said how difficult the situation is for the Mediterranean area. And what we're doing is really trying to bring together the voice of the Mediterranean in order to become stronger and greener and cleaner and more resilient and more sustainable as one family. Now, we've been working recently on a very important document that has been inspired by the UNOC, which is a policy alignment document for the development of our cities around the Mediterranean shores. And one of the things that I want to throw out to you at the beginning of my presentation is that you must remember that when problems strike, and we know that we have a kind of triple crisis around the Mediterranean today, we're fighting climate change, we're fighting biodiversity, depletion and loss, and of course pollution. This was said very well by the ambassador. Thank you for those words. We mustn't forget all of that. So we're coming together to deal with this, and the idea as a group of Mediterranean cities working as one was to work on a policy document that would feed into the debate during the UNOC. So that's what we've been working on over the last year or so. Now, in this document, we've been working on defining both needs, solutions, our priorities, and obviously, when I say this to you this morning, we're looking at bringing this into the debate. And this is one of the most important things for us, making sure that our voice is heard at the global table. So this is where we're working. Now, this policy alignment document, which is obviously available to all of you, and which will feed into the work that we're doing both within the MedCop Alliance, this was mentioned before, with the CPMR, and several partners who are here in the room today, and growing all the time, so we're always open as well to other partners coming in. The idea of working in this way was to create a kind of joint position. And the joint position, at the outset, we've said that there are two transversals which are absolutely essential to everything we do. The first one is a no harm principle for people, obviously, and a precautionary principle, both for people and the planet. So this is our first, let's say, take-home message when we've been working on this document. Then we decided to go down into detail, and we have 4 key areas that we've brought together. The first one is governance and planning, with several different points, but one of the points, which is absolutely essential to us as cities, is the relationship between port and city. And obviously, a lot of our cities are actually managing their ports, sometimes through the Chambers of Commerce, sometimes directly, sometimes with private partners. So right away you can see how important it is that we bring in the city level to the debate on how we create smart and sustainable ports moving forward into the future. The second area that we're working on is coastal ecosystem management and restoration. Here we have several sectors, one being supporting the restoration of urban coastal ecosystems with our cities. Don't forget that often the pollution that ends up in the Mediterranean is actually produced at the city level, well upstream. So all the work that we're doing today as cities to make our cities cleaner, greener, more sustainable, more efficient and smarter, we are all doing this work with the water systems in mind. So water management, sanitation management, sewage, and all of these matters are directly, very often, managed by the cities themselves. So if we manage to get it right upstream, we are creating less pollution for the Mediterranean downstream. So that's the second area that we're working on. The third area is the question of pressure on the ecosystem. Now, many of our cities are tourist cities, growing tourist cities. It's the economy of tourism is massive for a lot of our Mediterranean cities. And we have to think together how we can develop the economy of tourism while protecting the ecosystem, while protecting our Mediterranean Sea, our Mare Nostrum. And this is absolutely essential. And we have some excellent best practices, and I might say that don't always come from the northern shores, that often come from the south, and that feed back to us in the north, and that we can put into practice. So again, this is a very, very important point, because we have to continue providing livelihood as well for our inhabitants in our cities. And finally, the fourth is coastal resilience. And when we talk about coastal resilience, we're also talking about getting all the stakeholders on board. And when I say all the stakeholders, we're talking about participation and democratic participation, which is something today that all of us are doing in our cities at an ever greater level. We never do it enough, but we're trying to do it more and more. You know, how do we open up and work with youth? How do we work with the elderly members, or maybe the disabled members of the community? And bringing in all those people into the debate, working together with the scientific community's backing. And I think that we have to remember the scientific community in this period where the scientific community is under fire in a part of the world I won't mention because it's not the Mediterranean. We need to remember that they must be our #1 partners. So when we talk about protecting the ecosystem, we're talking about working with the general public and with civil society as a whole. So I won't go any further on all of these details. We have a fully fledged document that we could give to all of you, and we'd love you to read it. It's not that long. But what I will say, just to conclude, is that when we talk about mayors, we're talking about frontliners. We're talking about those that when disaster hits, when crises are there, they are picking up the pieces immediately. They're the ones that have to deal with earthquakes, deal with tsunamis, deal with pollution on their shores right away. And it often takes national government a certain amount of time to feed back to them. So we need to take their voice into account. And really, maybe this is my key message today, is what we're doing here with the CPMR, all of us together with MedCop Alliance, with all of the networks that have formed around the Mediterranean, which are efficient and effective, is something that we have to make a permanent on a global basis. We can only work and make this situation better for the Mediterranean if we do it together collectively. It's absolutely essential. And I'll just throw out to you at the end, just remember that when we talk about the 17 Sustainable Development Goals that we know and love today, we are all in agreement to say that around 75% of them are only obtainable if we have the concourse, the support, and the investment of the local government level. And that's the case, obviously, for SDG 14 as well. So I'll stop there because I could go on a very, very long time, and I have a question for you, dear Secretary General. And thank you very much for your attention. Once again, the MedCities were at your disposal to answer any questions you have. Thank you very much.